I mean, you're allowed to make your own choice, that's for sure. I just don't think you should shit on someone else's choice just because. Just cause. That's it. Yeah, I'm sure lacquer. But I'm not gonna pretend like I know or that I've even bothered to do enough research because I don't care. At the end of the day, I know it's dumb, but so are, here we go with another dumb habit of mine. Organic tobacco? No, but I've tried all kinds of fucking roll your owns into shit and they taste like assholes. I don't know how like you Australians do the roll your owns. Because it's the only thing you can afford, I know, but fuck, they're gross. I think if I was gonna go back to smoking tobacco, it would be like spliffs. That'd be the only way I could tolerate it. Do I plan to eventually go to zero nicotine? No. This seems pointless. Just quit. I feel like I have enough control, enough control over my brain to go like, hey, there's no reason to do this without nicotine. So just either quit or keep doing nicotine, right? Like that. I don't. It's like beer without alcohol in it. Why? Gaming maybe the 3 months and the tier 3. It's not vaping in a nutshell. It's still nicotine. What are you talking about? I mean, I see you hate it, but it's legitimately still nicotine. And if you think you smoke cigarettes not for the nicotine, you're just lying to yourself. That's the cool chemical stuff in your brain. For the taste. No, yeah, I smoked fucking almost 3 packs a day. And I've smoked just about every cigarette in existence. They all suck. It's similar to beer, the old beer argument, right? Like, everybody that likes beer in here will tell me about the beer that they think is good. But for the most part, beer sucks. And you're all trying to find one that sucks less. And same with cigarettes. Is there a reason to start smoking cigarettes? No. You get like dizzy. Would anyone describe it as anything else? Like you get a head rush. Like dizzy. From like your first cigarette. That's it. There's nothing else that comes from it. There's literally no reason to start. I genuinely, if I like looking back at it, I question how and why I got into it to begin with. You think a slight buzz. Okay, so I smoke too much. Maybe anyone who's saying a slight buzz, do you smoke like consistently? You'd always get, no, dude. I'd have to go days to get the head rush. Peer pressure? I said the other day, I started smoking as a joke to make fun of emo kids who smoked in our coffee shop. So I got a big tavern pipe like Gandalf, and I sat there smoking pipe tobacco. And then some of my friends, I did that for a while, some of my friends were like, hey, you want to try a cigarette? And I was like, yeah, sure, fuck it, why not? And then I dated a girl that smoked, and it was all downhill from there. It was like, hey, can I bum a cigarette? Hey, can I bum a cigarette? Until she's like, you need to just buy your own. I was like, oh, fuck, sure. Why not? And then I was smoking 3 times as much as she was in like a month. And then she's like, hey, you need to quit because I'm quitting. And I was like, fuck you. The only thing I'm quitting is this relationship. Thanks for the addiction. Peace. It was Norse. So it all started because of kids. I think, like I said, the girl really was the kicker. Not that I'm trying to blame her. Like I absolutely. I mean, I wasn't an adult, but I was able to make my own decisions. But we chain smoked a bunch of cigarettes and then a couple of swishers, and then she peed behind a gas station dumpster, and I was in love. That was it. I was in love. We had, never mind. Dude, the dumpster piss. Me too. I respected it so much. I was like the biggest rebound ever for that girl too. She ended up leaving me for the fiance that had called off their marriage. No surprise now, but then heartbroken. We went back to a boat that was on land. It wasn't even in the water because it wasn't season yet. I got a blowy, and then we woke up coughing to death because my buddy had thrown his pants on a candle and started a boat fire, which is pretty wild. It was a night, though. A night to remember. What a guy. It was an accident. It happened. It was funny, actually. It made for a great story. We told it many times over. The pants, like, just smoldered on the candle, so it just filled the boat with smoke. There was no actual fire until we went over and were like, what the fuck is this smoking? And lifted the pants up. And then it was just wildfire. And we all pissed on it and put it out. No, he wasn't trying to make a bonfire. He just threw his pants off in the heat of the passion, I think. I would love to pick that up, but I really don't want to take a damage there. Burning denim. Oh, dude, it was bad. I was the only person that woke up to it, which was pretty wild, too. 2 times rock bottom. My bottom is rock. Was it threesome? No. No. This is a big boat. This is a sailboat. It had 2 bedrooms. Sailboats are quite large inside. Even the small ones are pretty big. My friend's dad had a very old, I think it was 36-foot sailboat. And he was never on it, so we just used it as our like own apartment. For quite a few summers. Including like when it was on land, which meant you had to climb up like a... Sailboats have a keel, which is like a big weight on the bottom that hangs off the bottom to keep it from tipping over. So when they're on land, they're like 15, 20 feet in the air. So it's like a treehouse. Jolie Bean, thank you for the 35 months. For the king is so hard. Once you figure out time management, it becomes a lot easier. It's a good game though. Just really trying to maximize your turns is the key to that game. And if you're playing with dum-dums, it can be a real pain in the butt. I never drank, so I can't miss it, but I do miss having friends who drank, because it was a good excuse to do really dumb shit. Do you drive, Dragon? I used to have we used to have a friend who had narcolepsy in high school, and somehow she still had a license, but she was constantly falling asleep, which also made for very fun times, her falling asleep driving. She was the only one of us with a car, so... It makes perfect sense, Velor. It has to happen to somebody. You just hit the lottery. It has to, genuinely has to happen. But absolutely do not. Keep the license for emergency only. That's fair. Even drunk, you can't stand drunk people? I have some friends that are pretty good drunks. And yet, like, I don't want to hang out with people once it's gotten too late, you know? But, like, getting to the getting drunk, that's fun. The build up to everyone becoming an idiot is fun. But it definitely, it's a point where, yeah, you just want to ditch your friends and leave. J-Mare, thank you for the 27 months. A sleepy drunk, just wanted to fuck off and go to bed. The first time I like really smoked pot, was because like, again, I was trying to get laid, and everybody was partying and ecstasy and a bunch of like, mainly ecstasy. And I was like, well, I'm gonna do something to participate. But what I didn't realize was it didn't matter how much these people drank because it was speed-based ecstasy. So they were all just bouncing off the fucking walls. And I'm just sitting over there like... By the time I'd like turn my head to try to pay attention to what they were saying, the conversation was already back over here. I'm like, wait... And ended up just passing out on the couch and getting no laid. That was a bad idea. Do I like chicken pot pie? No. This is gravy as shit in that. I'm gonna call it gravy. Richard, don't fuck with gravy. No meat soup for me. Do I fuck with chicken, pot, and pie? Yes. All separately? Sure. The only thing I miss is doing stuff. And drinking and drugs led to doing stuff. I've completely run out of any original new... I haven't created a new story since I started streaming. It's amazing I've made it 8 years on stories from my teen years. We're running out of steam here. Yeah, now my stories are like, you know, did some homework with my daughter today. Haha! My daughter's teacher said something super fucked up today. I can't remember the context. But basically, what she said was, maybe it was your other dad? And you could tell she, like, immediately regretted what she had just said. And she, like, tried to awkwardly backpedal out of it. It was very funny. She meant it as a joke, but then I think it instantly hit her with, like, the... He and her mom just split not that long ago. It's very funny. I love awkward. I thrive on awkward. The instant remorse on her face was very good. That's fucked up, damn. And kind of funny. I was actually thinking about that the other day. Down, down. Like with mixed couples. I wonder how often that happens to the white parent. Like if they're out with a kid by themselves. Like how often they get asked if the kid is adopted. Did I play it up looking crushed? I don't ever... When my daughter does calls with her teacher, I just sit in the background just in case there's, like, a need for me. So, like, I wasn't in the call. I was just sitting off in the background. I think she was more upset about, like, offending Alice. That's what I would assume, Tyrolia, that it happens like a shitload where people just make that instant assumption of your adopted kid. Why would it matter? People are just weird. And, like, ask weird... I mean, as, like, a parent, people are just weird. And if you haven't, like, recognized it in public or just in life, like, people are overly friendly with strangers' kids. That sounds creepier than it is. But, like, they are. Sounds as creepy as... Well, no, it doesn't to me, but... Like, Alice got all dressed up yesterday in the dress, and she wore a little sun hat. It was super adorable. But, like, we had some errands to run, and, like, everywhere we went, random people kept complimenting her and telling her she was cute. And she didn't like it. She wasn't a fan. Which I get it. Like... Because then it means she has to respond to them, you know? Like, she's taught well enough that she should say thank you when she's complimented. But, like, she didn't want to have to say thank you 4 times when we walked through Walmart, you know? Where was she originally from, since she's Japanese? Ah, yeah. That happens a lot. Weirdly happens a lot, specifically with Asians, too, yeah. Most of my Asian friends say that is a super common question. I guess it's because we probably have a better... Most Americans probably have a better understanding of the different Asian countries, where we don't with the African countries. At least for my personal, like, being honest, like... Know the names of the countries, yeah. Like, know the names of the Asian countries better, I'd say, than the African countries, for sure. Why do kids stare at you waking up thirsty? Yeah, I agree, Queen. That's it. I like tried to have a little talk with her about it, but it's the same deal. You know, you don't want to. I don't want to add to the uncomfortableness of it. You think you're just that weird? Oh, okay. I thought you were also discussing the race side of things, because I know I live in the middle of nowhere, and like my daughter at a young age, we had to talk to her at a young age about different races because she just wasn't used to seeing them. There's even a song about my daughter being racist because she called another streamer dark and scary. But it was the first black man she had met, and he was massive and had a giant afro. And it was just a lot for her to take in. And I didn't even think of it when I had him sit in the back seat next to her car seat, but she lost her shit. But really, I was she scared of the little finger too. She ended up loving him. She actually ended up loving him more than all the other Australians. She still talks about him. She got over it quick. She just genuinely didn't know, and I didn't even, like I said, I didn't even think about it. But I've told Chad a whole bunch of times, I legitimately did not meet an Asian person until I was in my late teens, early 20s, and it was someone from online. It's gotten a little more diverse since I was a kid here, but still not. We have a pretty strong Hispanic population, but look at the stranger on beards. Yeah. He was just a big dude. And she was like, I don't know, 1.5 or something. Like, the fact that she could explain why she was scared was impressive to me. But now, forever, she'll have this song that I can play for her at her graduation. And remind her that her college is partly paid for by her dad's nude calendar. Can't wait for graduation. It's gonna be a riot. Dad cut off his left finger with an angle grinder. My grandfather worked in a as a machine repairman in a GM factory for like 40 years without any serious injury, and then cut off his middle finger making toys for us for Christmas in his wood shop. No, he cut off his pointer finger. It was still longer than mine, because he was Norwegian. And then he would point with his middle finger, so then I grew up pointing at things with my middle finger and getting sucked into red poops. Until I got informed by teachers I couldn't do that. Nah, my grandpa never drank lacquer. My grandpa was an incredibly quiet, didn't drink, didn't smoke Norwegian man. I think I saw him have a glass of wine once, and my grandma was very upset about it. And it was like at his daughter's, I don't remember. I think it was something to do with his daughter. Like her going away party. Fuck, have my dad. So it's not my grandpa's not my real grandpa. He's the grandpa that I call my grandpa, but not my real grandpa. My real grandfather was a truck driver and a drunk. I didn't say penis, his pointer finger. But upbringing? Yeah, so my grandfather didn't marry the guy I call my grandfather didn't marry my grandmother until my dad was already like 18. And she'd been married a couple times and to real shitty people, one of which got my dad drinking very, very young. Like, I think my dad started drinking regularly at 13. But I think he says I think the first time he got drunk was like 8. Night Retro. And not like to brag about it, but like he had a pretty abusive father for a while in his life. A Catholic priest, nonetheless. Left the church to marry my grandma and turned out to be an abusive piece of shit. It's weird because I didn't know any of these men. Like, these are just stories, obviously. I only knew my grandpa. And like I said, he was quiet and grandma very much spoke for him. he genuinely, I would spend a weekend at grandma's and he would say like 3 things. And like all 3 of them were Marlene, which is my grandma's name, just to like see what she wanted him to do next. She was very in control. After 2 shitty relationships, she found a very submissive man. Yeah, grow. Still doesn't mean it's right. Eh? In my opinion. But yeah, most of my family, you know my actual last name too, but most of my family, raging alcoholics, hence my distaste for alcohol and my avoiding it my whole life. The last name does fit. I don't actually care if chat knows. I could just say it, but my last name is Brewster, so a string of raging alcoholics makes sense. We're Germans. Bum, 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 bum. Getting hammered isn't too bad either, I guess. That's true. Apparently, Brewster is the feminine of Brewer, which I find super cute. Maybe that's just a lie on one of those name thingy-majiggers, but I like to believe it because it's cute. Oddly happy thing for the 1 year. Oh yeah, legally changed my name to Scathe. Did that. Yeah, well, that was the thing, Neil. The reason I took a name like Richard Hammer, besides it's funny, but the reason I went with a name like that was because when I first got on Twitch, I'd sit in streams and people would be like talking to other streamers and calling them Steve and Joe and shit, and it's like not their handle at all. Like the NL crew does that a bit, right? And that shit takes far too long to learn. And for someone like me, like I've watched Game of Thrones and I couldn't tell you half the characters' names. I could tell you if I saw a picture of them, I could say, yeah, I know what all those guys did, but I couldn't tell you their fucking names. And it just kind of bugged me. So I never really wanted, like the only reason I don't talk about my real name, it's not a fear thing. Like I've drove around the country and been in and out of houses of random viewers and stuff like that. Like it's just I don't want it to be a confusing thing. I do not want to be called by my real name, and I take it seriously, again, not out of a fear thing, but because I don't want it to just become a habit that people start calling me by my real name. No, people would have called Brower, which is brewer translated. Yeah. Yeah, my dad did one of those DNA testy things, and we're like 70% German or something. My grandma spent the majority, back to my grandparents, spent like the majority of her late life trying to trace our ancestry back to Native Americans because she got obsessed with Native American culture. And it was really sad, dude. She like traveled all over the globe and we're just fucking German. Like there's no Native American anywhere she can find. Yeah, lots of people use stage name. It's not weird. I just think it's weird to continue to use your real name on stage because it's confusing, right? Yeah, nothing wrong with German. It's just not exciting. It's not like... This wasn't the money thing at all either for her with, you know, the Native American stuff. She really just... We did powwows and all kinds of stuff, man. She was big into Native American culture. Native American prayers at the dinner table and stuff. It was interesting. It was fun, actually, I guess. I don't... when it comes to the Richard or Dick thing, I prefer Dick. I don't hate Richard. I used to like never go by Richard, but I don't hate it now. I've gotten used to it. People like Cobalt and stuff just have called me it so much I've gotten used to it. It was Dick Hammer, yeah. Twitch made me... Well, Twitch gave me two choices. Leave it Dick Hammer and not get partnered. Or... change it and get partner. I want to visit Germany. I'd love to travel the fucking globe someday, but we have to. I'm still working on that one. As soon as I get life's getting back to normal, I'm hoping, man, in the next year or so I'll finally be back in a financially stable enough place to do some stuff again. I really want to get back to conventions and shit. I really miss getting to meet chat. Times Square's ad they're making. Yeah, it was a silly one too, because like when I started, we just had a Dick Cheney, you know, like it was. It's not like it's even a rare name. It's a super common name. Because it never seems to. Well, my life was on track. Genuinely, at one point. Like, it was more on track than I ever thought my life would ever be on track. And then a series of dumb decisions, and here we are. At least financially, my life was on track. That part of it was on track. But I finally caught out and surviving on my own and stuff, so. I'm hoping through the summer I can put in some more hours streaming. It's hard though because the weather's nice and I want to do other things too. But the hot tub? No. It wasn't a hot tub. It was a bathtub with jets, and it wasn't even that expensive. No. I bought another house. I sold the house I owned free and clear. That was the bad investment, to go back into debt. I don't have the bathtub with jets anymore. I sold it. But no, yeah, when Kim and I moved into Lake, it was because we were like discussing the possibility of having another kid. And we wanted more space. And we started, you know, remodeling this house and everything, and then that didn't happen. You can take a bath in it. I know who lives there. I'm sure she'd let you. She's a sweet old lady. There's a hole in the wall, and you can't put a price on wall holes. Except the contractors I've talked to. I wish I was a little more talented and could fix it myself. I've been slowly doing more and more. Learning more and more. Maybe by the time I can afford to do it, I'll be able to do it myself. I wish I could do hot tub streams. I love a hot tub. Just being wet in general. Just have chat guide you through it. They did add a category for it. I don't have a hot tub though, or a place for a hot tub is the problem. Like literally, I do not have anywhere to put a hot tub. Unless I was to put it in the middle of my living room. That's the only space I have big enough. There's no yard space big enough for a hot tub unless I want to build it on a hill. But I don't feel like hot tubs perform well. My house is on a lake on a hill. So there's no outside to put it on. I could put it in my driveway. But then I wouldn't have anywhere to park. I could just put a heater in the lake. Floating hot tub. I think there might be laws against running electrical into the lake. I'd have to get a generator. Be a loud stream. Boom, thank you for the 2 months. Like my office is already my office slash bedroom slash Bass Pro Shop. So I don't have any room in here even for one of those cute little rubber hot tubs that I see people using. Directly behind me is the toilet. The Bass Pro Shop's your own damn fault? Yeah. But where else am I going to keep my guns and fishing poles? Also an entrance to the house, yeah. I don't use it as the main entrance except for myself. But technically, yeah, it's pools and beaches, which I think lake falls into beach. I poured some sand on the ground yesterday out of my kid's sandbox, so that's a beach. What do you want to hunt, imagination? Man. That's why they made lids for cat boxes now, Duran. Keep the cats out. Is Ludo gone? Oh, it is. Deer mostly, but anything that can give you meat. So, like, I mean, you've been around, it feels like, for at least a minute. I mean, guns are, you know, you're going to want to use the right weapon for the right job. So, I don't know. I don't know Ohio's laws either. But like a 270 or something is a pretty well-rounded gun to do whatever. But yeah, you're not gonna want to like blow away a turkey with something that can also kill a moose, you know? 308's a classic. But even that, I would say, is pretty big for anything smaller than a deer. That's flat, round instead of sharpened. So yeah, I have weird gun laws here. We can only use I don't remember the exact specification on it. So it doesn't try. Okay, so you maybe have the same laws we do, imagination. I would recommend a 450 Bushmaster then. But that's a murder machine. Maybe a 350 Legend if you think you're gonna like Turkey Hunt or something. You can also, if you want to do something cool or classic, there's some pistol round rifles you can get into too, like a 357. A lever action 357. That's a really fun round that'll easily put down like anything. Or if you want to go bigger than that, a little better for deer, get into like the 44. Lever actions are very fun guns. They're quiet. Is there a lot of overlap between best hunting guns, best murder gun? We went over this just the other day, so I don't want to. I don't know. I like the topic. I don't give a shit. I'll talk about it again. Like I have an AR specifically for deer hunting, but it only holds 5 rounds. I think the biggest mag you can buy for it holds 10, and it's a 450 Bushmaster on an AR frame. So like, I mean, the best murder weapon is super dependent, right? Like, you're talking about fires a lot of bullets, because that doesn't necessarily mean it's the best murder weapon either, right? Like, because a 308, yeah, a 308's a great hunting round, shoots very far. You can suppress it. You can get it in high capacity. You can put a big-ass hunting scope on it, and you can pinpoint accuracy, kill people from very far away. But if you're talking like, you know, the standard thought of murder guns like ARs and stuff, yeah, they're still good for hunting. Like, genuinely, not just hog meme good for hunting, but they are. Like coyotes and stuff, a lot of guys use ARs. In my opinion, yes. The one gun that is the most dangerous, that doesn't get nearly enough flack, is the handgun. I personally, if I were to attempt to change gun laws, I think handguns are the ones like that. That's their sole purpose, man, is murder. Handgun hunting is strictly something you would do for a skill thing, like a challenge, like bow hunting. There's no other reason to need one. But they're by far the most dangerous IMO. They're more likely to get stolen, they're easier to throw away, they're easier to hide, and they can still get fucking 25 rounds and shit in them depending on the handgun. It's popular here too, Blackguard. It's very fun. Like, you know, I have handguns. Got one right here. It is very fun because it is more challenging. It's a lot more skill-based IMO than shooting with a rifle. So handguns do get focused on here already. Like, handguns are the only ones that require registration, at least in Michigan and most states. I think like Texas still doesn't really require it, but handguns here are the only gun that require you to inform anyone you own it. They also have stricter policies with carrying them, and they tend to be stricter. The law enforcement tends to be stricter with how you transport them as well. I can walk around with a pistol on my hip with no license in Michigan too, man. It's registered, but I don't need a license if I conceal it. If I tuck it in my pants, in the waistband of my pants, then I have to have a special permit. But I can walk around downtown Lansing with my AR loaded, locked and loaded, in my hands, carrying it like this. That's not illegal in the state of Michigan. And lots of states, for that matter. It's when you start trying to conceal it that it usually ends up an illegal issue. It was moderately comfortable to manipulate. I got the tiny little, because I also have tiny hands, but I got a SIG 365. It's very small. I have very small hands, so the fact that my finger goes that far down the barrel, it's a tiny little thing. I think it's 9 rounds plus 1. We don't walk around with rifles, really. Sometimes, like you saw, it happened like a year or two ago over something people wanted to protest. Is it 10 plus 1? And then I have an extended mag for when I shoot targets. That gun is specifically designed for self-defense, everyday carry. The sight is even buried into the top of the gun. It's anti-snag. It's got like a holographic filament that runs the length of the gun instead of having a sight on top of it. That's Sig for personal carry. It's not super accurate, Wayne, and like they're okay with that. I think that I don't remember what Sig claims is like an acceptable tolerance on accuracy, like 4 inches, I think, which is pretty bad. But it's a fun little gun, cute little gun, louder than fucking hell. Noisy fucking cricket. Jesus, it's like a concussion grenade going off in your face. I shot it once without hearing protection. Just, I think it's important to know what it's going to sound like if you ever were going to use it in that situation, right? I never will. But it is like a fucking flashbang. It's a deterrent. That gun, so like, I don't know. That gun I got from Pasty for a good deal. But at the moment, all I do with it is occasionally shoot targets and leave it on my desk. I carry it when I walk the dogs at night sometimes. Just because, like, we've had some pissed off badgers around here. Your dad has found about 8 different poles of different lengths, all had the same fly wheel? Like they're fly fishing rods, imagination? Would you feel really unsafe if you walking around in Europe at night then? I'm afraid of badgers, Norse. It's an animal. It's a pissed off animal. You got a lot of angry badgers in Europe? Because, like, if so, then yes. Badgers are fucking vicious, dude. We had badgers murder, like, a plethora of animals in my town when I was younger. And we have a lot of raccoons, too, which aren't that aggressive unless they get close. You get close to them. We had one last night freak out on us because it was up under a neighbor's deck. I was trying to see the fishing question, though. Anyway, there's a lot of reasons for different length rods. If it's fly fishing, the biggest reason you're going to get into, it's most likely not just length, it's length and the strength of the rod. So you want to always match your rod to what you're fishing, right? Like, if you want to enjoy your catch, then you change your gear accordingly. But with fly fishing specifically, you get into the issue as well of you need a lot of room to work a fly rod, right? Because you're going some o'clock to some o'clock, but you need a lot of room to work a fly rod. So if your dad was walking up and down creeks with a lot of overhanging trees and stuff, he would have taken a short fly rod with him. But if he was fishing like a big river or fishing from a bridge or something like that, he could work those really big rods, and it'll give him a lot more distance, and he doesn't have to worry about it getting snagged. And the same sort of applies to regular cast fishing. But the reality of it, most of it's probably just going to come down to what he was fishing for. Bigger rods make fights more interesting. It's the opposite of what most people think. Like, if you watch a guy catch 500-pound fish, he's not going to use an 18-foot rod. He's going to use, like, a 6-foot broomstick. Our fishing poles make the fight harder for us. They don't make the fight easier. They make the fish feel stronger. We're giving them a bigger lever, right? Like we all learned about simple machines in elementary school. They give the fish a bigger lever to pull against you. You get into some length for casting, and the weight of the rod is in the thickness of the rod, and the way it bends determines what lures and weights you can cast at an effective distance and all that shit. So there is a lot of reasons to have 8 different rods with the exact same reel on it, yes. I personally don't usually buy the same reel because I'm just not that familiar with, like, there's not one reel where I'm like, this is the one, but I'm sure at some point I might get there. Yeah, no, I don't give anybody who wants to use the defend themselves from their government argument. Like, y'all lost a long time ago. When you didn't get to buy a fucking Abram tank, you lost. Stop pretending like you're still getting to control weapons to fight your government. You can't own a drone, you can't own a tank. You already lost this battle about defending yourself from your government. You already can't own what they can own. Sorry. Nope. Like, just admit the fact is you want to own guns. For whatever reason, you want to own guns, but it's not to defend yourself from your government. You already lost that right a long time ago. Automatic weapons, all that shit. Like, you can't own so much that the government can. Like, you're not in a fair, in any sort of fair playing field against your government to defend yourself. You can't just be ripped? No, you can't buy all that shit, Lacker. There's a lot of that's illegal. And you can't buy it new. Like, you can't buy a brand new automatic weapon. Unless you could build your own. You could start your own gun shop and build your own. But it has to be for sale to your government. Armed insurgencies require the backing of a military tunnel. Thank you all for being here. I appreciate it. Subs and stuff. I love you. See you probably tomorrow.